You're listening to the Manifest Your Greatness podcast, and this is episode number 62. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the Manifest Your Greatness podcast. I look so forward to spending this time with you each and every week to explore practical and actionable steps to help you manifest the greatness that you already possess deep inside. And today's topic is entitled Why We Project Our Own Insecurities Onto Other People. Why we project our own insecurities onto other people. Now, let's talk about projecting first of all. So projecting is when we see something in someone else, either how they're behaving or something that they're doing, and we give it meaning that really isn't relevant to who they are. It's more relevant to what we're going through inside. So when we're projecting, we are taking something from inside of us and we are projecting it onto someone else. And when we do this, we can get agitated, we can get sad, we can get envious. It just depends. But what we're projecting is either something we see in someone that either one, we are envious of, or that we wish we could do, or we wish we had an ability to, express ourselves like they can, or something like that. Or we see something in them that we loathe about ourselves, something we hate about ourselves and we're struggling with. Okay, so it can be something that we wish we had or something that we wish we did not have. And that's how projecting works. I'll give you an example. So I hate repeating myself. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's just something that I have trouble doing. I get agitated when I have to repeat myself. And anybody will tell you this. My family will tell you this. Probably some of my closest friends will tell you this. They can tell if I have to repeat something, I get a little agitated. And this is because I'm projecting. This is something I've dealt with, and I think I finally processed several years ago. Well, more than several years ago, but I processed this and I understand it. Doesn't mean I stopped doing it, but I know why I'm doing it. Let me explain. So, when I was growing up, and up until I was a professional, the first maybe 10, 15 years of being in corporate America and being a professional, I had a fear of not catching what someone was explaining to me. So I was just so terrified of being in a high stakes meeting, maybe during a presentation or talking about a project and I'm the project manager or whatever it is. If someone asked me a question and I did not understand what they were asking clearly, and I had to ask them to repeat themselves or to rephrase themselves, I felt stupid. And that's something that I had to deal with, even in class when I was a kid. I hated having to ask the teacher to repeat themselves because when I ask questions, this probably happened sometime in elementary school. One of the teachers that I asked a question to, they tried to answer the question for me. I didn't quite understand it. I asked them if they could repeat it, or could they say it again. And I got a pretty condescending remark that came back. It was not a good thing, not a positive thing. It really hurt my self-esteem. I felt really bad about it. And it triggered something within me. And I think that stuck for quite a long time. And I never wanted to feel that way again. I never wanted to feel dumb. I never wanted to feel like I didn't get it. So that feeling, that emotion, that thought that I had that, oh, if someone has to repeat themselves to me, it means I'm just not smart enough to get it the first time. That's a me problem, right? That's something that I've had trouble processing and coming to grips with for quite a long time. I do realize it now. I do understand it. So that doesn't mean I don't project, but it means that when it happens, I catch myself and I know why I'm doing it. It also helps me process other people's feelings quicker. So if someone says something, or if they ask me to repeat myself and I say it again, I might get agitated, yes, because it's still something I think these types of things take a long time to process, and you just have to keep going through that purification process of, working through it, working through it, working through it, working through it. And I'm still working through it. But being aware of when you're projecting gives you the ability to process the situation and come to grips with it a lot more quickly, and perhaps even save yourself, a long-term ill will, right? Long-term feeling of just of awkwardness with someone when you do something like that, and they're like, "Geez, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with Curtis? Why is he so?" I just asked him to repeat himself. So if you catch yourself, then you can understand, okay, I did that. Tell the person, hey, look, I was I didn't mean, I was out of line or whatever. Sorry, I got agitated. Something was on my mind, and I kind of just let it slip and took it out on you, whatever it may be. But knowing when you're projecting can be so powerful. But I wanted to start with that example. So in that case, that's when you're projecting onto someone else something that you're insecure about, something that you have a feeling that's so strong about that you don't want to deal with it. So you project, you put it out on someone else, and you say, no, this person, oh my gosh, I can't believe they don't get what I'm saying the first time, when actually it's a you problem. It's something you're dealing with. It's something that you're having trouble processing. So that is projecting. And in that particular example, that's when we're talking about a situation where something within you that you're having trouble with, you are projecting it onto someone else and taking it out on them. So the other example is when someone does something that you wish you could, and you take it out on them. So here's an example. So say, for example, um, you are timid. You don't express yourself in situations that you wish you could. So I can relate to this. I'm very conflict avoidance type personality, right? I like to avoid conflict wherever possible. I like to, I like harmony. I like everyone to be happy. So I don't rock the boat, usually. And every now and then something will come up that I feel strongly about that I'll kind of push down. And just kind of say, well, it's not that big a deal. And then there are times when I'm feeling like I'm holding what I'm thinking, or what I'd like to say down a little bit. And then you run across someone who just speaks their mind, right? They just say, this is what I want, or they say, this is how I feel, or this is what I'm going to do, or this is the way I think we should do it. And you're like, what the heck is wrong with this person? I mean, don't they have any feelings? Why aren't they considering what everyone else thinks about? Why aren't they just kind of, asking it in a more gentle way to kind of being more inclusive and think about, kind of what others could be thinking and what thoughts or what their contribution might be? Why doesn't this person incorporate that into the conversation? Why do they have to be so blunt? Why do they have to just push, and just say it in a way that is matter of fact, like this is what I'm doing, this is the way I'm feeling, this is how things should go. And then I realized, I know why that pisses me off. It pisses me off because I am afraid to do it sometimes. I've got things that I'd like to say. I have things that I would think, I would prefer went a certain way, or I think my suggestion or my recommendation should be followed. But I didn't say anything. But that person, they have no problem saying it. So I get pissed off, right? I'd be like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you, be a little bit more considerate? And I think, oh, I'm standing up for people who aren't being heard or something like that. But when you think about it and you have a chance to process it, which I did, I realized that, you know what? That is also a me problem. It's because I am holding on to this feeling that I am afraid. I'm fearful of being judged for what I'm going to say. And I'm not getting out there and saying it sometimes. And when I see other people who do that, I get envious. And that's projecting. I'm putting that on them, and I'm trying to make it seem like it's a them problem when it's actually a me problem. So that's projecting. So you've got two different ways you can project. One is if you are insecure about something. The other is if you're envious about something or wish that you could be more of what someone else is is showing to you. Now, the reason why understanding projecting is so powerful is because once you understand it, you can start processing those feelings. So when you are going through these strong, intense emotions and you find you're blowing up, and getting upset with someone, you might be projecting. So this is a good time to think about what triggered me about what this person said. What triggered me about the way this person said it, or what triggered me about, how they acted, whatever it might be. Take that feeling, that discomfort that you have inside of you, and you don't have to be blowing up to go, oh my gosh, maybe I'm projecting. You could be holding it down, but that hurts too, right? That hurts. You could be stressing yourself out and carrying this discomfort, this pain with you all this time because you're not processing it. But if you understand projecting, you can start to process that. So that's something that I really wanted to cover today, is that if you're able to catch these instances and think about them for a little bit and try to understand where those feelings are coming from, you can really start to use that to grow from. Because once you understand why you're projecting, you understand what's bothering you. If you understand what's bothering you, you've got new tools that you can work with to help yourself continue to grow and continue to improve. So that's why projecting is so powerful. It's a concept that's so powerful if you understand it and you leverage the lessons that it's teaching you. So, I mean, it's a human emotion. It's something that we just do. But if we know why we're doing it, it can be extremely powerful. And there's so much that we can gain from taking those instances and learning to process them. And like I said earlier, it's not going to be a situation where it's like, oh, now I know why I do it, I'm not doing that again. No, that's not what's going to happen. But over time, you will catch yourself quicker and quicker and quicker as you're going through these emotional, roller coasters, and you feel that bubbling up inside of you, and it's going to come out many times. Like, even for me, sometimes it still does. But like I was saying before, also, I'm catching it faster. It used to be the case, just for reference, that I would, say something, I would project, and it would take me days to get to the point where I was like, you know what? I know why I did that now. I was projecting because I was insecure about this particular aspect of myself, part of my personality, and I didn't like it when someone else showed me what I am not capable of doing in such a way that it just got to me. In that particular situation, maybe it was emphasized because it was something I really wish I could have said something about, or I could have stood up for what I was thinking, and actually said something, and let people know where I was coming from, and I didn't, and it was a situation that I can't get back. And it's like, okay, I get it now. That's why I did it, and that was years ago. Now, sometimes I catch myself before I even get there. Sometimes I catch myself before I even say anything. Doesn't mean you don't have to process it, because you still have that feeling, right? So you still have to process it. You still have to process it. But and then other times it'll come out, and then I'll catch myself, and then I'll start to process it, and I'll communicate with the other person and let them know, hey, I'm sorry about that. Which is something I couldn't do before, because it was always a them problem, right? So once you are able to process, you are able to make it a situation that you can put focus on. And you can't control other people, right? People are going to be how they're going to be. They're going to be, they could be brash, they could be in your face, whatever. That's their personality, right? They're going to be them. However, if certain things that they're doing really upset you, then it's a you problem, right? You need to be working on understanding why it's upsetting you, because you're projecting. And it may seem like the most difficult thing to recognize at the onset, because you could just be like, well, anyone who said something like that, they would just make anyone mad. It's not just me. But if you start to slow things down and think about how that person reacted, or maybe it was the way that they did it, or maybe they were in a certain position when they did it, and you just you just got to start to kind of take a step back and think about, why is this really getting under your skin? Why is what this person doing really getting under your skin? Then it becomes a point you can grow from and not just feel uncomfortable in, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Projection is a big, big thing. And if you can understand why you're projecting your insecurities onto others, you can begin to start that healing process. And once you start that healing process, you'll be able to find yourself, um, you'll be able to find yourself catching yourself when when you're getting into these situations, quicker and quicker, and it's going to cause a lot less collateral damage. And you're going to, of course, grow from it too, because when you're processing it, then you're actually releasing it as well. You're no longer taking these feelings and holding them down. You're processing them and letting them go. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So that is my challenge for everyone out there. Think about one thing that just got under your skin that someone did or someone said, and try to take a step back and think about why it made you so upset, why it bothered you so much, why it irked you so much. And then try to figure out and really try to examine, is something that this person is saying, and the reason that it's really getting under my skin, is it due to some insecurity that I have? And then once you are able to identify that, you can begin to process that. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the Manifest Your Greatness podcast, and I look forward to spending time with you again on an episode in the near future.